Guys, let's do this problem right here. The question is asking to find the centroids. Centroids mean basically the x bar and the y bar of the point that's going to give the centroid, right? So let's see how we can find this. So first of all, we have to know the equation for the centroid. Since the density and the density is provided, so from this one we can calculate. So so the basically the it's going to be related with the weight. So the x bar is going to be the equation for x bar related with weight is sigma x I wi over sigma wi, and that's going to give us the x bar. So to find the y bar, it's same thing like sigma yi wi divided by sigma wi. So we need to know these values to calculate sigma xi wi and sigma wi. So let's see how we can calculate this. So to calculate this, first of all we have to create a table. So in this table, first of all let's put it. So this is one of the, it's going to be figure and area. Then we have to calculate the, so this is density is given, so let's say this is density, and then w weight. Weight is basically multiplication of the area and the density, so we can say area times density is going to give us the weight. And then we have to calculate the x bar and the y bar and wi xi and wi y. So these are the things we have to calculate, and that's it. And let's put the units here. So first of all I create the table. So let's put the unit for everything. Area is going to be feet square. Density is going to be pounds per feet square, and weight is going to be simply the pounds, and distance is going to be feet. Now also distance is feet. Wi times xi is going to be foot pound, and same here. So these are the information we need. So let's see how we can find it. So first of all, in a complex kind of these pictures, so we have to separate into simple pictures. So in this case, we can separate this into semicircle right here. So I can cut this part into half, and I can also cut this into a rectangle. Actually, this is square because 3 feet, height is 3 feet, distance is 3 feet, so square. So I can separate into a square and a triangle. So we can individually find the area, and we can calculate it. That way it's easy, right? So let's begin with this one. So if I take the half circle, this half circle right here, so I take this alone without this inside circle. I'm gonna calculate this separately. So first of all, the area is going to be 5r square by 2, because since this is a semicircle, the area is going to be 5r square by 2. So 5 times r square divided by 2, and we know the radius is given. Radius is basically the half time this, so it's 1.5 from the origin, right? So this is the radius. So 5 times 1.5 square divided by 2, and if you calculate this value, it comes out to be 3.53. So this density is for the circle in the middle. So this is for the circle in the middle, and this density is for the all the other objects. So in this case, this belongs to this one, right? So that's why I write it in black. So all the black belongs to the density of this one. So in this case, density is going to be 50. So if to find the weight, I have to multiply both of them together. If I multiply, I will get 176.71. And now I have to find the x bar. So x bar is basically, so let's set this one. So this is my original point. So I have to calculate all the bar, x bar or y bar from this origin. So in this case, x bar is going to be the horizontal distance from this one. So it's going to be basically 1.5. No, no, actually it's not. It's not 1.5 because we have to remember we are calculating x bar mean the centroid distance from the centroid. So it's going to be for the circle the centroid is 4r divided by 3/5. So this is the centroid for the circle. So let's put the centroid before we make any mistake. So let's put the centroid. So I choose different color. Let's use this one. So it's going to be somewhere in the middle right here. So this is going to be 4r times 4r over 3/5. So this is the centroid for the semicircle. If it's a full circle, centroid is going to be exactly in the middle, but semicircle it's going to be 4r by 3/5. And for the square, it's going to be exactly in the middle. But for the triangle, it's going to be 1/3 of the distance. So from this one here, 1/3. From the height, it's going to be 1/3. From the base, it's going to be 1/3. So it's going to exactly 1/3 from the both sides. So that's how the center is going to be located. And for this circle, it's going to be exactly in the middle. The small circle, it's going to be exactly because it's a full circle. So we can put centroid now. So now let's calculate all the values. So for this x bar, now I have to calculate the distance from this to the centroid. The centroid is, if you calculate this value, it comes out to be 0.86, and the height of this one is going to be exactly in the middle, so that's going to be 1.5. Then I have to calculate the WIXI, so it's basically the multiplication of these two together. WI is here, x bar is here, so we can say x bar or xi is same thing. So if I multiply, I will get 152.6. Then Wi times y bar is going to be 176.71 times 1.5, which will give us 265.1. Then we are done with the circle now. Let's move to the square. So if I take the square, the area is going to be simply the multiplication of the length and the width. So it's going to be 3 times 3, which is equal to 9. Then the density is going to be 50 because the material is this one. Black is the material, so it's going to be 50. And if I multiply both of them together, I will get 450 as my weight. And the x bar is going to be the distance from here to this middle. So we know this one is 1.5. This is going to be in the middle 1.5. So 1.5 plus 1.5 is going to be 3. The height is going to be from the bottom to half of this is 1.5. Then WIXI is simply the multiplication of this weight and the x bar. So it's going to be 450 times 3 is going to be 1350. And Wi times y bar is going to be 450 times 1.5, which will give us 675. So we are done with the square now. Now let's calculate the triangle, this triangle. So let's draw the. Okay, for the areas, the triangle is going to be the width times the height divided by 2. So if width is the 3, height is 3, it's here. So 3 times 3 divided by 2, which will give us 4.5. And the material is same, so it will be 50. And then if I multiply both of them together, I will get 225. Then the x bar is going to be 1/3 of the, so remember this is 1/3. So 1/3 from both sides. So from here is 1/3. So x bar is going to be, so 1/3 of the 3 is going to be just 1. So from here 1.5, 3, 4.5, 4.5 plus 1 is going to be 5.5. 5.5, then the height is going to be 1/3 of this height, so 3 is the total height, so 1/3 of the 3 is going to be 1. And then Wi times x bar is going to be 225 times 5.5, which will give us 2 Um, so it's 225 times 5.5 is 120 1237.5. Then wi time y bar is going to be 225 times 1 is going to be 225. Then let's move to the circle. So here's the tricky part. So when we have the circle, so it's a different material, right? So in this case, what we have to do is we have to think of it as removing the same material and adding it. So because we can't just stick a stick something inside, so it's mean we are removing this other material, the cutting the top and then putting some new material inside, like we have to imagine like that. So the like whatever the part removed we have to eliminate, so we have to deduct it. So I write it in a different color in case to avoid mistake. Let's use this color here. So here, so this is the circle and the area is going to be 5r square. So since the radius is given 1, so it's going to be 5r square, it's going to be simply 5 because 5 times 1 square is going to be 5. And we have to deduct this whole part, we have to remember, we shouldn't forget that. And the material is, this is removing part, so when we remove it's going to be same material, 50. And now if we multiply 50 times 5 it's going to be 55. Then x bar is going to be the distance, for this one the distance is going to be exact radius, so it's going to be 1.5. The height is going to be the radius of this one, so it's going to be 1.5. Then if I multiply wi time x bar, it's going to be 50 times 1.5, 55 times 1.5, which will give us 235.6. Then the other one also say 55 times 1.5, 235.6. So this is the part we have to deduct. Then we have to calculate the new circle we are adding, so that's going to be different material. So let's say this is the part we are adding. So we should remember this, whatever we are going to calculate. So we need, the thing we need is xi wi, so we have to deduct this one when we calculate all together, xi wi, yi wi, then w sigma wi. So we have to deduct all of them when we calculate. And let's calculate this one. So it's going to be 5r square, same thing. So 5r square mean the radius is 1, so it's going to be 5. But in this time I'm gonna put 30 as my density because we are adding the new material, that is density is 30. Then wi is going to be basically the multiplication of these two. This comes out to be 35. Then the distance is going to be from here to, so it's going to be same thing as the above radius, so it's going to be 1.5, 1.5. Then if I calculate wixi, so weight is 35 times x bar is going to be 1.5. If I multiply both of them together, I will get 141.37. The last one is also same, 35 times 1.5 is going to be 141.37. So let's calculate all of these things. So our purpose is to find the x bar and y bar, that's what is going to give the centroid. So we need three things, xi wi, so this column we have to add this column, and this column also wi sigma wi, this column. So if I add this one together, I will get sigma adding together is going to 788.9, and this one comes out to be sigma 2645.9, and the other one here comes out to be sigma 1070.9. So these are the three information we need, and now we can calculate the values. So let's calculate the x bar. X bar is going to be sigma xi wi over wi. So we found sigma wi xi is 2645.9. So 2645.9, and the unit is foot pounds, and then divide by the wi, sigma wi. So it's going to be 788.9 foot pounds. So if I divide both of them, I will get 3.35 feet. And if I calculate y bar, it comes out to be uh, this one. So wi is yi, it's 1070.9, 1070.9 foot pounds divided by the sigma wi is 788.9. So it's 788.9 pounds, and if you divide both of them, you will get 1.36 feet. So this is the points of centroid. So now we can locate this in the picture. So first of all, x bar is going to be 3.35 from the origin. It's going to be 3.35 mean this is 1.5, so 3 is exactly in the middle. 3.35 means somewhere right here. So let's mark this one down. So let's say this is 3.35, and then the height is going to be 1.36. So we know this is 1.5, so it's going to be a little bit below somewhere here. So let's say this is the 1.36. Therefore my centroid location is going to be this one, from here, from here. This is the centroid of this object. So let's mark this red. So this is the centroid. So that's how we find the centroid of the complex object. I hope you guys understood this concept. See you next time.